right, today we're going to be talking about Star Trek The Next Generation Q and Law. This book, I'll just say it right off the bat, I freaking loved it. I'm a fan of Q and all the crazy shenanigans he pulls, and then all the like lessons he ends up learning as he studies humanity. Book was written by Peter David. I think this is my second book I've read by him, and they've both been amazing. Cover art is again Keith Birdsong. We got a glare there, but you can see it in the middle of the screen. So I'm on quite the Keith Birdsong cover kick as of lately. I actually didn't remember that Keith Birdsong did this cover. I just wanted to read something that wasn't a diplomatic type of book because the two previous weren't. But so Picard and crew are tasked with hosting a wedding between two factions, basically like rival species, but they're being brought together by one side's daughter and the other side's son, getting together to get married. So that's all good and dandy. And then so they're all ready to celebrate the Gruzianis, and I can't remember the other faction's name. Anyways, they celebrate for a week, and Picard's like, "Well, okay, so they're gonna tend all that." And then all of a sudden, Luxana Troy shows up. So Picard's already like, "Oh crap," he's got to deal with her and her stuff. And then Q pops in and starts doing Q things. And of course, Picard and crew don't want him there, but he basically convinces them that he doesn't mean any harm. And at first, he's just kind of, flirting with Luxana Troy. And flashback real quick. This book's a 10 out of 10 for sure. I loved it. And when Luxana Troy showed up on the Enterprise, she transfers in, or whatever. I don't know why I cannot think of the words today. She energizes in, and Riker's like, welcoming her to the ship, and he says something. Oh, he calls her ma'am, and she's like, I don't want to be, don't call me ma'am. I positively am not that old. And Data just, being Data, he's like, but you are old. And so that's pretty hilarious. Well, anyways, Luxana Troy is still in her phasing thing that she's going through if you've watched the show. So she's like, a horned up old lady. And she lays eyes on Q, and Q takes this opportunity to study this type of aspect. And he just gets his flirt on with her and all kinds of stuff. Deanna Troy's totally psyched out about that. But at the same time, all this is going on, Luxana Troy's falling for Q. Q ends up meddling with the two teenagers that are getting married from the two separate factions from this world. And he meddles with them, and he shows the boy boy Karen, what his, wife is going to look like Sarah when she ages. And that freaks him out pretty drastically. Q shows them an exaggerated image of what she's going to look like old. And then, so at the dance ceremony, Karen's dancing with these other girls. He ends up feeling bad about it, and Sarah's crying. And then Q shows up to Sarah, walks through her mirror, freaks her out. And he basically shows Sarah that, look, your soon-to-be husband, Karen, doesn't really care about you. He wants all these other girls. Well, all this stuff's going on, and then you got this funny side story going on with Wesley, and he basically helps out Karen and Sarah before, Q meddles with their relationship. So Karen offers him a gift, which is her servant, Carla. And so Carla's just, immediately walks into Wesley's room and is like, I'm here to basically do you, and I'm your slave now. And Wesley's dealing with that. Well, it turns out, as beautiful as she is, Wesley's trying to do the moral thing, but she's a super duper klutz. If you've ever seen Three's Company, there's a character named Cindy that comes in, and that's the vibes that you get from Carla. It's glorious in every aspect, and this is finally a book where I actually enjoy Wesley's character in the book. It's just hilarious. There's so many funny parts in the book. This is a comedy, by the way. It's a comedy. Like, that's what it is. It's just pretty hilarious. Carla is a super klutz, and so you get that little side story with Wesley and Carla, and yeah, it's like a sitcom. It's like one of the goofy episodes of Star Trek, and I loved it. It was absolutely perfect. You know what I mean? It deserves the 10 out of 10 that it got, for sure. It could have easily been an 11 out of 10, but, we'll save those for the really special ones. But I would say this is right outside top 5 favorite books so far. Probably my favorite Next Generation book so far for sure. And I think I've read about 10 TNG books. Anyways, back to the story. There's not too much to say about it. It's just a good, funny story, and I would definitely recommend somebody reading this one first. It's not serious. But anyways, Q meddles with the teenagers, and they end up fighting. The whole the wedding's happening, and everybody starts fighting. Luxana gets punched in the face. Um, and she's all bleeding, and then the two factions, they decide they're going to go to war with each other. They immediately leave the Enterprise, and just thousands of ships are fighting in front of the Enterprise. They're just immediately killing each other, all mad. So Picard's trying to deal with that. Then finally looks Sarah from the one faction, she just wants to kill herself, so she makes her servant Carla get her a fighter suit. She jumps into a fighter, and lo and behold, there's Karen, who's forced by his father to get in a fighter, and he blows up Sarah. He kills her pretty much. But all while that's happening, Luxana begs Q to do something about it. Well, Q can't because of the Q continuum, but what he can do, he gave Luxana the power of Q. So she stops the fight right at the last second. All the ships go back, where they started, and the fight's over. Well, finally, they all board back to Enterprise, and Picard's trying to mediate, and Q shows up. Luxana's there with her brand new power. She's power tripping. She's, of course. And Q shows up, and the two teenagers are like, that's the guy. That's the one that did, he's the one that messed everything up. And Luxana, she freaks out. She's mad. And Q's like, you can't do nothing to me. I'll just take the power from you. Well, his mind, or he doesn't realize that Q number 2, or whatever you want to call him, another Q is hidden, and he lets Lux, this is the best part of the book. He lets Luxana hold on to the power, and the crap she does to Q is so freaking hilarious that I was just like, I don't even know how I wasn't dying laughing reading it. In my mind, I was just laughing hysterically because first she turns him into like this little 6-inch dude, and he's running through the Enterprise screaming. She's trying to stomp him out. Then she turns him into a racquetball and is hitting him off the wall. So he's all messed up. He doesn't understand how she's just beating the crap out of him. And even after all that's done, it's some pretty hilarious stuff. Picard is the one that's able to stop her from basically killing him. She's about to chop his nether regions off with an axe. And Picard stops her. Well, Q's all messed up about it because it turns out by being around the humans all the time, he developed a human emotion called love. He actually kind of fell in love with Luxana through it all, even though she was really mad, not only because he mediated with the teenagers, but he says some really mean things to her. Like, he does exactly what everyone tried to warn her about, but she just does hilarious things to him, and it's a really great end of the book. And then Q finally sees the error in his ways, and that's what we love about Q. He's kind of like the Vegeta of Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? He's bad, but then he's not. He saw the error. Q2 meets with Luxana, and he's like, I allowed you to keep the power to teach Q a lesson, so he takes it back. But Luxana didn't really want it in the end because she couldn't keep her her telepathic or whatever abilities keeping track of Deanna all the time. So the book was superb. So finally everything goes back together. Karen and Sarah, after basically Karen finds out he pretty much killed Sarah but didn't because Luxana stepped in, and they get back together. Wesley's finally able to not deal with Carla, and so everything it's a real great ending. Like I said, this is my 4th book done. It's March 7th of 2026. My 4th book done for March this month. I'm on a roll. I absolutely loved it. It was just so funny. It was a hilarious episode in the Star Trek The Next Generation line. So hopefully the next one, which is also a Keith Birdsong cover, keeps it up. We have coming up Infiltrator by W.R. Thompson. Look at that amazing cover. So we will get this one done soon. If I have enough free time on March 8th. I want to try to get through it, but you know, that said, Q and Law was great, and I'm probably gonna look for more books with Q. I'm probably gonna look for more Peter David books. I'm thinking I have one coming up. Yeah, I have one after Infiltrator Vendetta coming up, and so I'm pretty excited for that. I have a few more. I think I have Imzadi. If I get through my TBR that I made for myself, I might finish the month with Imzadi. I don't know yet. I might save it for next month. But I'm having a blast reading Next Generation right now. The books are freaking... even though the one I didn't like that much, Exiles, was still pretty good. You know what I mean? I just love the Next Generation. You know, it's the show that the wife and I started Star Trek with. It's not where I started at in the books, but I'm loving the Next Generation books, and I'm having a hard time wanting to read any original series or Deep Space Nine or anything right now, or the Litverse. So luckily for me though, on the Litverse list, my next two books are Next Generation books on the Litverse list. So I think they're post Nemesis, the war. We haven't got to that in the show yet, but yeah, Q and Law, yeah, my wife says yeah they are. She read them. She really liked them. So you could go to my other videos, like Mission Gamma and stuff like that, and the Litverse list will be there in the description or as a pinned comment. If you want to, you've never read Star Trek and you don't know where to jump in, and maybe you've never even watched the shows, the Litverse list is perfect. But Q and Law, back to Q and Law, phenomenal novel by Peter David. It's number 18 in the Next Generation numbered. If you wanted, you know, if you were reading in order or something, I'm not. Like I said, Lwaxana Troi is one of my favorite characters off the show because she's always given Picard such a hard time, and it's great to see his stoic character always kind of crumbling when she's there. So and then all of this is going on at the same time she's wearing her mourning, like she's mourning because her daughter Deanna isn't married and with someone yet. So Deanna's dealing with all that too. And so right at the end of the book, when everything's happy and peaceful, Deanna's like, Mom, it ends funny. She's like, I'm gonna fix this and you can stop mourning. And she beelines it towards Riker, and Lwaxana's like, oh yes, yes. And then she just takes a right hook and grabs Data, and Lwaxana's like, I'm just gonna drink myself to death. And that's how the book ends. So it's pretty great. It was a great book. I loved it. It's one of my favorite books I've read so far in Star Trek in general, and it was great to get something different being a comedy. So yeah, I highly recommend it. I'm gonna do my best to pester my wife to read it pretty immediately so she could drop a review on it. She still has two Star Trek reviews she needs to do. Luckily she wrote them down, so she should be okay. And I want to say this is my longest review video to date. So I mean, I finished the book and I loaded up my images on the screen and I shot the review. I loved it. It was a great book. And I can't wait to start the next one. I'm on a roll with the books, and I'm going to keep it up for this month at least. Next month we'll be moving and stuff, so I might slow down to about 5 or 6 books again. But that's the video today, guys. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll probably upload this book on Sunday, March 8th, just because I don't have any other plans to load anything else up. So, like I said, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let me know what you think. I wish more people would jump into watching these book reviews, because maybe more people would want to get into reading Star Trek. But to the few of you that do watch them and enjoy them, thank you for watching. And yeah, I'll be looking for more, because it's looking like a Star Trek-y type of year for me. I'm highly addicted, highly obsessed, and you know, the books are really good. You know, even the bad ones the two whole bad ones that I haven't liked, Exiles and The Children of Hamelin, I still know what they are. They were still really good. You know what I mean? They weren't, I mean, I didn't like them, but they weren't bad. You know what I mean? They weren't bad. I think, shoot, the only book I've read that I almost, we won't talk about that. I got the review recorded, so maybe I'll upload it in. It ain't a Star Trek book, I'll tell you that. It wasn't a Star Trek book. But that's the video today. Like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think. And let me know if these videos are getting you hyped up to read some Star Trek, because I'm hyped up for Star Trek 24/7. It's all I think about. Later.